Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen. Nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa ahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbana zidna ilman ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. The topic that one of the students had requested, and I also thought it will be a good topic to actually cover, is around the af'alul madh was dam, the verbs of praise and blame. Okay, this is a structure which is used. These verbs are used in the Quran quite frequently, so it'll be good to understand what those are. And what is their structure, which will help us understanding the meaning when they come in the Quran. So af'alul madh was dam. Okay, so in terms of the meaning, madh meaning praise, okay, as dam meaning blame. Okay, just keep that in mind. The verbs which are used mainly for praise are ni'ma, okay, or habbaza, or sometimes the verb hasuna is also used in this context. Okay, now habbaza is, I don't recall it is used in the Quran, but in the regular Arabic it can be used for this purpose. And the translation for this is going to be a typical translation will be how good, or something good or pleasant that you are trying to basically highlight about something, and that's when you will use these af'alul madh, okay, of verbs of praise, versus the af'alul zam, the verbs of blame would be bi'sa, sa'a, and la habada. Okay, and the translation will be something like how evil, how bad, how wretched. Okay, so that will be the typical translation for those af'al. Now these verbs are referred to as jamid. Okay, so jamid is a term used typically for any verb which does not have all the different forms of that verb. Okay, so for example, we say laisa is a jamid verb. Why? Because it only has past tense. Also, asa is also a past tense verb, only it does not have the present form. So these actually are also jamid, and because they only have the madi form, they do not have the mudare or the amr form. Okay, so that's another thing to note. And then also note something very interesting, that the look at the and I'm going to highlight it, the starting vowel sign for ne'ma, okay, and the starting vowel sign for bi'sa. Okay, that you notice that they are kasra, not fatha. Okay, and if you recall, the very first thing we learned about the verbs was the fi'l madi, and the first thing that we learned about fi'l madi was that it uh, is its first and third radical will always have a fatha. Okay, that always, I mean, is not always as we learned today. That in this particular case, which is a very, 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 very small exception, that the first radical has a kasra. Okay, so that's just a point I wanted to share, that this is a fail madi and its first radical is a kasra. Okay, which is a exception to the rule that we have learned previously, which is that fail madi will always have a fatha on the first and the last radical. So in this case, the last radical still has a fatha, but the first radical has a kasra. Okay, so so that's just a quick introduction, and then we look at an example here at the bottom. Okay. Ni'mal rajulu Ibrahimu. Ni'mal rajulu Ibrahimu. How will we translate it? What a good man Ibrahim is. Okay. And then with an exclamation mark at the end, because we are not asking how good he is, but it is, we are just basically praising Ibrahim in this fashion. So in English, the closest translation is what a good man Ibrahim is. Okay. So typically it will have three components to it. First one is the fa'ilul mad. Okay. Second one, because it's a fa'il, you need a fa'il, is the fa'il for that fa'ilul mad. And the third one is what is referred to, this is a new terminology now, makhsus bil mad. Makhsus bil mad. Okay. We know this word makhsus from our Urdu background. Okay. It is the same word. In this context, the meaning is it is the one. It's a ism maf'ul from khassa yakhussu. Okay, khasun is the ismul fa'il, and then makhsus on the wazn of maf'ul is a ismul maf'ul. The one who is selected, the one who is specified. Okay, so in this case, the one who is accorded, given, or endowed with the praise. Okay, or in the case of zam, it will be with the blame. Okay, so the one who is the target of that particular praise or blame, that is what is referred to as makhsus bil mad or makhsus bil bizzam. Okay, so those are the three components to it. We are going to look at in more detail the components 2 and 3 in terms of what are the rules which dictate these two components. So let's start with on the right hand side with makhsus bil mad, the one who is accorded or given the praise. Okay, so in this case that is Ibrahim. Okay, so it is actually a mubtada muakhar. It is a mubtada muakhar. It is a mubtada. It is a subject of a nominal sentence coming late, whose khabar is the jumla fi'liya. Whose khabar is the jumla fi'liya that came before it. Okay, so in other words, you have a jumla fi'liya, which I'm actually just encircling here. Okay, so this is jumla fi'liya. Okay, and then you have the mubtada, and this jumla fi'liya comes as a khabar muqaddam for this mubtada. Okay. If you want to understand it, one way to do that is to bring Ibrahim right here before the jumla fi'liya, and you say it Ibrahimu ni'mar rajulu. Okay, so this is not how it is written in Arabic, but just for your understanding. Okay, it basically has a same meaning. Ibrahim, how good a man he is. Ibrahim, how good a man he is. Okay, the way it is written is, however, is ni'mar rajulu Ibrahimu. The mubtada is moved to the end of the sentence. Okay, but the structure is that overall, this whole thing, ni'mar rajulu Ibrahimu, that whole thing is actually a jumla ismiya, which has a mubtada and khabar. Khabar comes first in the form of a jumla fi'liya, and the mubtada comes at the end. Okay. Now, the reason I have to keep repeating it is because this breaks all the rules that we have learned previously, that if a jumla starts with a verb, then it's a jumla fi'liya, and if a jumla starts with a noun, it's a nominal, it's a jumla ismiya. Now, in this case, we are saying, if I look at the sentence, Ni'mar Rajulu Ibrahimu, the jumla is starting with the verb, but we are still calling the whole jumla, complete jumla, Ni'mar Rajulu Ibrahimu, that whole sentence we are still calling a jumla ismiya, with the mubtada having moved at the end of the sentence. Okay, so that's just, and this happens in this particular case of Alul Mad Mazdam. Okay. The second point about jumla, sorry, in this particular case, Makhsus bil Mad, is that it should be definite. Okay, again, it goes back to the mubtada. If you remember, the default rule about the mubtada is that it should be definite. Okay, because the subject is being ma'rifa, meaning it is something that we know who we are talking about, and it can be definite with the definite article or as a proper noun. So in this case, in our example, Ibrahim is a proper noun, so it's definite. Okay. But here's an equally important part. It can be omitted. Okay. It can be omitted if it is understood from the context. If we already know who we are talking about, we don't have to keep repeating that person's name or the one who we are referring to. So if we were to say Ni'mar Rajulu, after having said a lot of good things about Ibrahim, okay, let's say somebody's talking about Ibrahim, they say many good things about him, and then in the end they say Ni'mar Rajulu, how good a man he is, basically. So that automatically refers to the previous discussion about Ibrahim, that this is going back to Ibrahim. So it can be omitted and it will be understood from the context. Okay, so in this case, we will have a mubtada will be mahzuf, and the khabar, which is a jumla failure, will be present. Okay. Another thing you can relate it with is, we have talked about it before as well. If somebody asks you, what's your name, Masmuka, you don't say, it's me something. You just say, whatever your name is, let's say Zahid in my case. So I'm only sharing the khabar. Okay, I'm not sharing the mubtada. Mubtada is mahzuf because it's understood from the context. So same thing in this case, the mubtada can be can be omitted. So this is about the makhsus bil mad. It actually is a mubtada which came late in the sentence. Okay. Now let's talk about the fa'il. Okay, the fa'il, which is in this case ar-rajulu. Okay, it is a fa'il for the verb ni'ma, the fa'il mad. It is a fa'il for that fa'il. The rule around that is that it should have a definite article al. Okay, so that means that it should be definite, or it can be mudaf to a noun which has a definite article, and again that it is definite. Okay, an example is sa'a tabibul asnani Williamu. Okay, sa'a tabibul asnani Williamu. So in this case, our fa'il is tabibu, but it is mudaf to another noun al asnan, which is decorated with the definite article al. Okay, so that's what this rule is saying. The meaning is how bad a dentist William is. How bad a dentist William is. And William in this case will be makhsus bil mad, or makhsus bil zam, actually, not mad. Okay, because sa is a fi'l zam. Or another possibility, and this is an interesting one, it should be a dhamir mustatir contained in the fi'l mad or zam. Okay, as we know, all I mean, you can have a case of a dhamir mustatir, okay, where the dhamir is contained within the verb. Like if I say zahaba, it means he went. Okay, the he is contained within zahaba. So similarly, ni'ma contains the dhamir mustatir, or sa'a contains the dhamir mustatir, but then it is then specified with the tamyiz. As you know, tamyiz can be used to bring some clarity to something which is ambiguous. So in this case, tamyiz will be brought in to bring clarity to that ambiguous concept that's bringing in, because the file is not explicitly mentioned. Okay, so here's an example: Sa'a taliban hamidun. Okay, and how will we analyze it? Sa'a is fi'l madi li insha is zam. Okay, insha basically means creating. Means creating. The definition of the word grieving. Just a second. Sorrowful through loss or deprivation. Siri just woke up all of a sudden from me. I don't know what did I say, but anyway, let me turn that off. So fi'l madi li insha is zam. The insha for creating, zam for creating blame. So this verb sa'a is being used here to create blame. The fa'il in this is dhamir mustatir taqdiruhu huwa. Okay, what is taliban? It is a tamyiz. Okay, and this whole sentence, sa'a taliban, jumla fi'liya, في محل رفع خبر مقدم, as we discussed before. Okay, this whole thing is a خبر مقدم, and حامد is مبتدا مؤخر. Okay, and then of course you can also say it is مخصوص بالضم. Okay, so in this last case, the file will be damir mustatir, but whenever the file is damir mustatir, you will need a tamyiz to bring clarity to that topic, and then the makhsus bizdam will follow. Of course, if it is understood from the context, then even that can be omitted as well. So you will have, in this case, Sa'at Aliban Hamidun will be how bad Hamid is as a student. Okay, so because if we say how bad Hamid is, it's an ambiguous concept. Hamid may be a very good friend, a very good father, a very good in terms of his manners, okay, but may not be a good student. Okay, so what we are Tamyiz is doing here is Tamyiz is bringing that clarity here by saying how bad Hamid is as a student. Okay. Anyway, I want to pause here for any questions before I actually jump into some of the examples from the Quran for these afal, mad, and zam. Any questions so far, brothers and sisters? Good, brother Harun. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam. The question is that in English you put an exclamation mark, but in Arabic there are no marks like that. So how would we know, just because of these verbs in the front, that it is an explanation?
That is correct. The verbs which are, I mean, the common verbs which are used are listed above. So in the Quran, basically you will see ni'ma or hasuna, or you will see be'sa or sa'a.
Right.
And so they will tell you. But you're right, there are no exclamation marks in the Quran.
Thank you.
Yeah. Brother Nisar, please go ahead.
Zahid, you mentioned ar-rajulu, right?
Yeah.
Al is attached, alif lam.
Mm-hmm.
Should be why we translate as what are good men.
Yeah, I think it is. This is how the translation English goes.
Yeah.
The file is supposed to be definite. The
Yes.
file is always supposed to be definite. I mean, in English, if I say what the good man Ibrahim is, it wouldn't sound right.
I know, I understand, but I think since we are learning the different type of grammars and looking into it, it just strike me.
Yeah, it good observation. It's just that it's when you bring it to English, the definiteness of that word doesn't make sense from an English point of view.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Shakil, please go ahead.
Yes, regarding the word hasuna, actually some books of the grammar, they mention that it's not only one word. Any word at the major of the fa'ula, it will be included in the fa'ul mad of them. It can be included. For example, I give you another example. For example, karuma. Karuma is also, hasuna is another example, as you said. So this is also mentioned in some books of the grammar.
Yeah, true. But I think I'm just trying to give some of the main examples of these verbs. Brother Kamal, please go ahead.
That can we consider this Ibrahim as a badal and name al-rajul as a jumla ismi, jumla failure as a full sentence?
Not seen that analysis in any of the books from what I remember. So Nurul Yaqeen and Dr. Yaqut both have this as mubtada muakhar. Yeah, I am still struggling if Ibrahim. Yeah, because I've not seen that analysis, it's hard for me to agree to that. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay, so no questions. We will move on to the some Quranic examples for this topic, inshallah. Okay. The first example I have here is this is from Surah Hujurat, ayah number 11. Actually, we have done the analysis of this passage. We have seen it before, but we of course did not do this type of analysis. We kind of just went over the meaning at that time because you have not studied this topic. So, Ba'is al-ismul fusuq ba'd al-iman. And I put the translation here from one of the contemporary English translations. How evil an attribute is ungodliness after belief. Oh, sorry, I raised hand. Brother Khalid, please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi
So,
wa barakatuh.
well, the Hasbunallah, is that falls into the same kind of structure? Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil.
No, that's Hasbunallahu is mudaf ilayhi. Hasbuna, mudaf ilayhi. And then Allahu is the khabar. Hasbu is mudaf. Sorry, Hasbu is mubtada wa huwa mudaf. Na is mudaf ilayhi, and Allahu is khabar, I believe.
Okay. Oh, okay. You're right. I
Yeah.
guess second part, ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir.
Exactly.
That falls into this.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
I think I have it here. I'm not sure. Maybe I did not copy that, but yeah. Ni'mal Mawla wa ni'mal Nasir, right here. It's the next example. We will look at that, inshallah.
Sure.
So, Ba'isalitul fusuq ba'd al-iman. So the analysis will be. So you can look at the translation. Just we can understand what it means. How evil an attribute, ungodliness. How evil an attribute is ungodliness after belief. Okay. So Ba'isa, this is your fi'l zam. So actually, what typically they will say is it is fi'l madin. Okay. Either li insha is zam to create for creating zam, or sometimes they'll say yufidu zam. Okay, to denote blame. Okay, yufidu. Yufidu zam. Okay. And then al ismu is a fa'il, and al fusuq will be makhsus bizam. Makhsus biz zam. That, sorry, makhsus. Shouldn't have put the. Okay. The one which is given the blame. Okay. Fusuq is the one is what is given the blame. Okay. So how evil. Okay. Ism. The meaning in this case is attribute, or you can say designation. And fusuq is transgression. Okay. And in this case, the because it basically means to do things which are against the orders or against the faith. Okay, faith being in this case the religion that has been given to us by God. So ungodliness. Okay. Ungodliness. Okay. Ba'd al-iman, after belief. Okay. So if you were to do the more detailed analysis, so here makhsus bizam, and then this will be mubtada muakhar. Okay, and this jumla fi'liya will be fi mahalli raf'in khabar muqaddam. Okay. And we've already got the meaning. Next one is this Surah Anfal, ayah number 40. Wa in Tawallaw, and if you turn away, fa'alamu, okay, know that Allah maulakum, Allah is your maula, okay. Ni'mal maula wa ni'mal nasir. Now, you notice here, ni'ma, we have the fi'l mad in this case, okay, and then maula is the fa'il, okay. Of course, this is a maqsoor noun, so you don't actually see the dhamma, okay, but there is no makhsus bil mad. Why? Because we already know from the context that we are talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So makhsus bil mad is mahzuf, which means the mubtada is mahzuf. Only the khabar is given. Okay. Brother Abdul Hamid, please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Wa
But
alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa
my question
barakatuh.
is that this like a fail jamar, this can be conjugate also?
I've not seen a conjugation for ni'ma. Hasuna can be. Hasuna can be. Okay. Actually, Hasuna, sorry, I should have mentioned Hasuna itself is not Jamid, it's the Ne'ma and Be'sa that I was talking about. But Ne'ma and Be'sa, I have not seen them being conjugated even in Madi. So they have a Madi base form, but they don't have the other form that I have seen.
But there's a word in nemat.
That's a different, it's the same root, but not from this verb though.
Okay.
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 And ni'mat that you talk about is actually a noun, not a verb.
Okay.
Okay. Ni'mat is a noun, not a verb.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So ni'mal maula wa ni'mal nasir. So ni'mal nasir is exactly the same analysis. Ni'ma is again fi'l madi. Okay. You feel mad, and then nasir is fa'il. And the actual makhsus bil mad is mahzuf because it's understood from the context that it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. Okay. But Khalid, does it answer your question?
Yes, brother. Jazakallah khair.
Okay. Here's an example where the fa'il does not have al, but it is mudaf to a noun which has al. Okay. So ajru is a fa'il in this case, wa huwa mudaf. But the mudaf ilayhi is has the al. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, and the ones who believe and do good deeds, لَنُبَوِّئَنَّهُم مِنَ الْجَنَّةِ غُرَفًا. Okay. Now notice here, لَنُبَوِّئَنَّهُم. Okay. So lam followed by fi'l mudare followed by nun saqila. Okay. Lam plus mudare plus nun saqila. When is this possible? Only in the case of qasam. So that means that there is a qasam mahzuf here. Okay, so Allah is bringing emphasis here. Allah is saying those who believe and do good deeds, again, have no doubt in your mind that they will be assigned. We will assign them. Allah is saying we will assign them minal jannati, from the paradise, ghurafan. Okay, ghurafan, rooms or chambers. Okay. Rooms or chambers, and then there is a nath coming after, which is a jumla fi'liya, tajri min tahtiha al-anhar. Okay, so this is a nath for ghurafan. So ghurafan was maf'ulun bihi to the verb lanubawwi annahum, maf'ulun bihi number 2 actually, because bawwa'a yubawwi'u form 2 requires 2 maf'ulun bihi. First one is home. We will assign something to someone. Okay, so we will assign them minal jannati, jar wa majrur, ghurafan maf'ulun bihi number 2, and then tajri min tahtiha al-anhar. This is now fi mahalli nasbin naat li ghurafan. Okay, this is the adjective on ghurafan. Those are being further qualified that there will be rivers flowing under those rooms or chambers. Khalidina fiha, this is hal. Okay. Hal for whom? Okay. The ones who are being assigned those rooms. Okay. And then ni'ma ajrul amilin. What a good ajr for the for the doers. Okay. For the ones who are doing good deeds. Okay. And who are they? They are the ones, because we already understand from the context who is sorry, what this ajr is. Okay. And ajr, so what is mahzuf here is makhsus bil mad is mahzuf, because it's understood, and I think it is in one of the analysis book that it is Jannah. Okay, that how good an ajr for the amilin is the Jannah. Okay, and this was one example. Okay, and this is from Surah Surah Kahf, ayah number 29. فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. Okay, a good example of shart. فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ jawabu shart. Okay, so this is one shart. And then وَمَنْ شَاءَ, okay, فَلْيَكْفُرْ. Okay, both of them have, so two examples of shart here. Whosoever wants, let him believe, and whosoever wants, faljakfur, let him disbelieve. Okay. So yeah, I think I should have seen the raised hands. Brother Kamal, please go ahead.
So right, for nema, if nema is for a monas file, will it be nema still or nema?
Yeah, yeah, correct. It is. So first of all, the file is ajru. So
but if the file is a monas file, in another sentence, will nema will still be nema?
I have not seen mat with the ta'anisi being added to that. So that may be the case that in the Quran we never had a case of a file coming as feminine. But I have not seen the ta'anisi being added to ni'ma or besa.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, Shakir, please go ahead.
Yes, about the same ni'ma. So one possibility is that makhsus bil madh can be a ismul ishara, like mubtada. You can say ni'ma al bidatun hadha, hadhihi. So that hadha or hadhihi can also be a makhsus bil madh.
Bil mad, yeah.
Bil madh, sorry, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Again, it doesn't come in the Quran, there is this particular example, but I think from an Arabic language point of view, it is a possibility.
Yes, it comes in hadith.
Okay. Okay. So just فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. And then إِنَّا أَعْتَدْنَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ نَارًا أَحَاطَ بِهِمْ سُرَادِقُهَا. Surely we have prepared for the wrongdoers naran, a hellfire. Ahata bihim suradiquha. Its walls will surround them. Okay. So now just from here you can see how this jumla fi'liya ahata bihim suradiquha is coming as a naat for the word naran. Okay. So this is naat for li naran. So, and that's what I've said, that typically if you have an indefinite noun followed by either a jar majroor or a jumla ismiya or jumla fi'liya, then see the connection, and what you will find is quite often that they are coming as a naat for that indefinite noun. Okay, so here naran is a man'ut, and ahata bihim suradiquha, its walls will surround them. Okay. Ahata this is actually a word which is used in Urdu as well. And then it continues, and if they ask for drinks. Okay, so again shart. Okay, another shart. The jawabu shart is yughasu bima'in. Okay, kalmuhli yashwi yashwil wujuh. Okay, they will be given water, like which will basically burn their faces, and then the fail zam is used, or fail madi yufidu zam be'sa is used. Okay, how evil a drink. Okay, how evil a drink. Okay, which drink is being talked about? Okay, the ma that came here. So the makhsus bil mad is mahzuf. Okay, so here you have the fa'il, and makhsus bil mad is mahzuf, because it is understood that the previous part of this ayah talks about this water which will burn their faces. And then wasa'at murtafaqa. Okay, so this sa'a is again fi'l madi yufidu zam, Okay. It denotes blame. And where is the fa'il? Is damir mustatir. Okay. Sorry. Damir mustatir, because there is tanisi, we know that it has to be here. Taqdiruhu here. Okay. And then now it is being clarified with a tamyiz. Okay. Murtafaqa. Okay. And how evil, okay, is the, so murtafaqa basically comes from irtafaqa yartafiqu, form 8. Okay, ifta'ala. It is actually an ismul makan. Okay, something upon which one leans. Okay, such as a couch or an armchair or a cushion. Okay, so so that nar is being referred to as it is a. So first of all, the base is sharab. The reference is to the water, and then sa'at murtafaqa. This it goes back to the hellfire, that it will be such an evil place to lean on. Okay, murtafaqa meaning a place that you basically lean on. Typically, you would lean on something that you want to take some rest on, but here the place to rest on will be that nar, and Allah is saying it is such an evil place to rest on. Okay, so in this case, the murtafaqa is tamyiz. That's why you see it is mansub, and the makhsus bil mad is will be naran. Okay, based on the context of this ayah. Okay, and then actually this again Surah Kahf, just 2 ayahs down. Ulaika lahum jannatu adnin tajri min tahtihimul anhar yuhallawna fiha min asawira min zahabin wa yalbasuna thiyaban khudran min sundusim wa istabraq muttaki'ina fiha alal araik. Now the starting with ayah 30, which is the ayahs before that, the glad tidings are given for the people of the paradise. Okay, so this is a continuation of that, about the ulaika. Those are for them are jannat of adn, of perpetuity, tajri min tahtihimul anhar. Again the rivers will flow under them. Yuhallawna fiha min asawira. They will be decorated with the bracelets from gold, min zahab. Basuna sayaban khudram min sundusim, and they will wear green dresses from silk and brocade. Sundus, silk, istabrak is brocade, which is also a fine type of silk. That's my understanding. And then muttaki'ina, this is now mansub because it's a hal. Okay, they will be reclining fiha alal araik, in it, meaning in the in the jannat, upon the couches. Okay, upon the couches. Now araik, just I'm just taking a tangent here. This is on the version of mafa'il, okay, which is mamnu min as-sarf. but notice it is coming as majroor and it has a kasra. Why? Because it's al, jacked with al. When jacked with mamnoon min as-sarf is jacked with al, its majroor ending becomes with the kasra. Okay, so alal araik. So they will be reclining upon the couches. And then ni'mat thawabu wa hasunat murtafaqa. Okay, so this is in contrast to bi'sa sharabu wa sa'at murtafaqa. Here ni'mat thawabu wa hasunat murtafaqa. So we have the fa'il mad, okay, the fa'il. Okay, how good is how good is the reward? How good is the reward? Okay. So what is mahdhuf here? The makhsus bil mad. Okay. The one which is being given the praise. What is that? That actually is Jannat. Okay. The paradise which they are given. Or it can also mean all the dresses or the bracelets. Okay. Basically all the ni'mah that they have or they will have in Jannah, those are being referred to. And it's being said about them that how good a reward those are. And then wahasunat murtafaqa, and how good a place to lean on. How good a place to lean on. Now in this case, murtafaqa is tamyiz, okay, and hasunat is fi'l mad. Ta'u tanisi is there, and then we have the fa'il is damir mustatir, taqdiruhu here, because it is going to Jannat. Okay? Jannat. Because makhsus bil mad here is Jannat. All right. Any questions so far? Okay. And then just a couple of examples more. Okay. And this you see, this particular, the first one actually comes quite often in the Quran. At least 4 different references I found. Sa'a ma yahkumun. Okay. So this ma is actually ma al-mawsula. Ma al-mawsula. Here it is coming as a file for the verb sa'a. Okay. And then yahkumun is the silatul mawsul. So how evil is that which they judge or rule, or the whatever rulings they give? Okay, how evil it is. So you'll have to understand the previous part of the ayah to understand exactly what is being referred to in all these cases. But this is coming repeatedly, so I thought it'll be good to bring it up. And the makhsus bil mad will also depend on what the previous ayah was referring to. Okay. So sa'a ma yahkumun, how evil is what they judge. Okay. And then in Surah Tawbah, ayah number 9, Ishtarau bi ayatillahi samanan qalilan. Okay, they trade with the ayat of Allah or signs of Allah a very cheap price. Okay, fasaddu an sabilihi, and they prohibit, okay, or make it difficult for people to follow the path of to follow his path. Okay, innahum sa'a ma kanu ya'malun. Okay, surely they. Okay, and then sa'a ma kanu ya'malun. That's what we want to highlight. How evil is what they used to do. How evil is what they used to do. So kana, okay, followed by a fi'l mudare will typically be translated as used to. Okay, and this ma is again al-mawsula. Okay, and then kanu ya'malun will be silatul mawsul. Okay, how evil is what they used to do. Okay, how evil is that which they used to do. All right, so that's really all that I wanted to cover for this. Any question, Brother Khalid? Please go ahead.
Besides innahum, hum is here is
Ismu inna.
makhsus.
No, ismu inna. And then sa'a ma kanu ya'malun is the jumla fi'liya. Sorry, shouldn't say jumla fi'liya. Sa'a ma kanu ya'malun along with the makhsus bil mad, which is mahzuf,
yes, exactly.
will be jumla ismiya coming as a khabar for inna.
Okay, that's how I wanted to make it clear. Okay, it's so it's basically is makhsus al mad.
Yeah. Okay. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين Assalamu alaikum, sisters. Please stay safe and we'll talk next week, inshallah.